Before we start the video, I want to go ahead and mention that I now have a kick, which means now I can kick your ass. I'm just kidding. No, seriously speaking, I have a kick. Go check me out if you have any questions about the video, if you have any questions about any video, if you just want to say hello. I stream anywhere from 8 p.m. to 12 a.m. at night Eastern time. I stream almost every day. You know where to find me. I'm sure by now you guys have heard of this individual by the name of A Praise of Shadow, who created an elaborate tutorial on how to get canceled the next day. And I think it's a fascinating watch, and I highly recommend you guys watch it. Now, for the people who don't watch me regularly, or even like people who barely started watching me, one of the things that I like to do is I like to give content creators a chance, and I like to hear them out before I give my critique. I like to think that I give a substantial critique, and I apply the knowledge that I have to the best of my ability when I give a critique. And this is no different. So I decided to hear him out, and I have to say that a lot of it was making sense at the beginning, until I started to realize that he was just sharpshooting the majority of the details. Now, with that being said, I think that a great place to start is with his thesis. Let's go ahead and take a look at it.
And that, like many people who talk about being Christians as much as he does, has a dark past with deep ties to far-right extremism.
Now, in his thesis here, he talks about how Wendigoon has deep ties to right-wing extremism. Now, this doesn't sound like a persuasive video. Instead, it sounds more like an informative video, because the thesis that he places forward it sounds like an absolute statement, like, oh no, he has deep ties. Okay, well, now I'm going to be expecting you to provide that for me. And I want to showcase to you guys that he further elaborates on this thesis.
There are many things that are red flags that we could talk about, from the bizarre gun ownership, the flagrant use from my perspective of his religion as a shield from criticism, to the belief that he at one point followed many far-right accounts on Twitter, from Kyle Rittenhouse to Parler.
So I'm sure that you get the gist, right? Essentially, he's saying that, yeah, this guy isn't a great guy. Listen, I fucking would not go on a date with this guy if I was a girl. But what you're gonna realize is that oftentimes he's stereotyping, he's sharpshooting, not to mention the fact that there are many holes in his facts, because he doesn't have the evidence to back it up.
The social media website where the January 6th insurrection was in part planned, people said, oh, he only followed them. But that doesn't mean that he agrees with them. But there are screenshots of tweets that may have been deleted, that clearly in my mind show a support to Rittenhouse. Although, since I did not take these screenshots, they do have to be taken with a grain of salt.
Why is it that you're relying on someone else's screenshot to get a narrative across? You did not take that screenshot, and for all we know, that screenshot could have been photo edited. It's insane to me that you would even consider taking that photo and applying it in your own video. I understand that you said take it with a grain of salt, but that still doesn't excuse the fact that you use this photo in a video where you're attempting to inform people. At least I think that's what you're attempting to do, because everything that you said just kind of felt like a waste of time. I was like, why'd you tell me that then? If you can't find the source of this, why are you telling me? Because when I watched this segment of the video, I can't help but think that I'm being primed into thinking that Wendigoon is some sort of alt-right sympathizer. So here he is, he's priming you, and not only that, he is also utilizing a tactic called sharpshooting. Now, there are many instances of sharpshooting. However, I just want to showcase this one example here because I think that this is probably the most obvious. So once again, if you guys don't know what sharpshooting means, essentially it's when you take details, random details, and then you start to draw narratives around them, and then you try to connect them to this person's character or even another narrative. And you're going to see here how he attempts to connect Hawaiian shirts to Wendigoon.
Also, it should be noted that the Boogaloo Boys are known for wearing Hawaiian shirts. And guess who else always has on a Hawaiian shirt, despite the fact that he publicly totally does not share in their beliefs, guys?
Do I hear some sort of anthememe syllogism coming on? Please, praise. Finish that sentence. Anyways, you can see that he's attempting to connect Hawaiian shirts to Wendigoon. And this isn't the only time he tries to sharpshoot. He also sharpshoots in combination with stereotyping. And you can see that when he talks about his friends, his YouTuber friends, like Turkey Tom and Donut Operator, there's certain characteristics that are highlighted, more highlighted than others.
Wendigoon is publicly friends with Donut Operator, and even retweeted a photograph of the two of them hugging. Donut Operator is a gun-crazed, very far-right YouTuber with 4 million subscribers.
So that's part of the sharpshooting. The fact that Wendigo is friendly with a conservative and is hugging Donut Operator, who happens to be a person who totes guns, who probably believes in conservative values. Now I want you to take a look at the stereotyping.
His content is very pro-state, pro-cop, pro-gun, and pro-death to people who don't share his beliefs propaganda. For example, one of his videos is titled "Predator Takes Shotgun to the Face" and features a picture of him smiling in the corner of the thumbnail next to an image of a terrified man about to be executed by cops, with the text that reads, "Head removal."
Hi everyone, Donut here. We got a couple of shootings for you today. The main shooting just warms my heart.
And you know, for someone who supposedly is so very anti-government, Wendigoon seems very comfortable with a man who makes his living worshipping violence committed by the state.
Really, man? You're gonna use the word worship to describe donut operator's content? You make it sound like donut operator goes to police stations on Sundays to go pray. He has to be entertaining when it comes to his content, because that content is very sombering. So he has to use techniques like antagogue to make it entertaining. And I'm sure that you guys have seen throughout the media that some Republicans like to, tote guns, support the Second Amendment, and, like to support law enforcement. The thing is that Republicans have many different ideas on what they believe. But like the fact is that like he's attributing all of that to just conservatism. He's trying to highlight all of these like conservative stereotypes to make sure that he gets the message that he wants to get across, which ultimately is that Wendigoon sympathizes with right-wing extremism. And unfortunately for Praise of Shadow, he did a terrible job conveying that message, because none of it was based off of any actual evidence, and instead it was just based off of many deceptive techniques like stereotyping, sharpshooting. My dude, you didn't get anything accomplished if like that's what you were hoping for. I will say this though, there was a couple of things that made me think, but this is something that could just be easily answered if you just ask Wendigoon, which was the whole idea behind Boogaloo Boy, where, his username used to be that. And he gave some sort of description about it on Reddit, but it was very confusing because he talked about where he got that idea from, the whole Boogaloo Boy concept from, and he attributed that to Che Guevara. But the thing is that I couldn't find any reference of Che Guevara even using this concept of Boogaloo Boy or even Boogaloo itself. Overall, I think that this video was a massive catastrophic failure. I don't know if the like button was replaced with a self-destruct button and everybody pressed it, because he destroyed himself in this video. And not only that, the audience also destroyed him. And speaking about the audience, I want to go ahead and leave something on the table for the audience, and you guys can decide whether you guys want to take it or not. And that is one of my principles that I love to follow, which is watch your content creators responsibly. This will spare you a lot of headaches, a lot of disappointments, because you have to remember content creators are human just like us. And when you realize that and you don't just see these guys as like the ultimate content creator, it helps to see a lot of the bullshit, because you got to remember, man, not every content creator is going to be right about everything. So that's definitely something to remember. So I'm going to go ahead and leave it here, guys. If you guys want to go ahead and follow me on Kick, if you guys want to talk to me there, I highly suggest it. Again, I will be streaming anywhere from 9 p.m. to 12 a.m. at night Eastern time, almost every single day. Check me out. And yeah, that's all I have for you guys. And yeah, hopefully you guys learned something today.